Hi everybody, welcome to Woman Money Power. Today, let's talk red flags. I want you to be sure that you know when you're in an abusive relationship. I know it seems like such an obvious thing, but sometimes abuse is not clear-cut. It's even harder to recognize abuse for someone who grew up around it, who saw their parents being abusive, or even worse, someone that experienced abuse themselves as a child. It's an awful thing. Unfortunately, it happens. But situations like this, when we grow up living in an abusive environment, be it, watching our mother get injured or verbally, physically abused by father or someone else, it's harder to see it when it's happening to us. And unfortunately, the pattern often repeats itself because we can't discern that this is bad because it's our norm. So I luckily did not grow up in an environment like this, but there are a lot of people who do, and sometimes you just don't know that something's wrong. You think that this is how things are. Maybe you think if you do a little bit better, then you're not repeating the cycle. Physical abuse is a lot more clear-cut. Obviously, physical abuse involves some kind of physical touch, meaning it's not just something they say or how they make you feel. It can be someone that pushes you. So physical abuse is pretty obvious. Physical abuse means that someone is physically harming you, whether it be just a little bit or maybe they just put their hands on you in a threatening manner. Maybe they push you. It can be someone pushing you, shoving you, slapping you, throwing something at you, knocking you down, knocking you into the wall. It can be someone trying to choke you, someone trying to push you out of the car, knocking you to the ground. A number of things, but if they leave a bruise, if it hurts at all, if you feel like you are being physically harmed, that's physical abuse. Physical abuse is never, ever, ever okay, not if you're in a fight with your significant other, your boyfriend, your husband, your whoever. Never, ever, ever okay. Physical abuse is never okay. Physical abuse, you just can't allow it to happen. You need to get out. And if you have kids in the home, you need to get out of it immediately. Do not wait. I urge you to seek help from the National Domestic Violence Hotline if you are experiencing physical abuse of any kind. Verbal and emotional abuse, it's a little bit more murky. Verbal abuse obviously pertains to words being used to harm you. This can be someone telling you that you are ugly, that you are fat, that you need to lose weight, that you look bad, that you smell bad, that you're stupid, that you don't make any sense. It can be so many things. It can be that you're not as smart as they are, that they're superior. It can be, insults thrown your way. They can call you names. They can curse at you. I have experienced a lot of this with my ex, who is the reason I made this YouTube channel in the first place. He was, and I'm sure still is, a master of being verbally abusive, and words hurt. Verbal abuse absolutely sucks. It can feel just as bad or even worse than physical abuse. It sucks. Don't tolerate it. Get out. Verbal abuse is not as dangerous as physical abuse, but it can often lead to physical abuse. In my case, it did not lead to physical abuse, but it's still really scary. It hurts, it scars you inside, and it can be very traumatic. Emotional abuse. When they say things verbally that are intended to make you feel bad. Verbal abuse and emotional abuse often go hand in hand. Emotional abuse can be when this person says things, or maybe they just insinuate things, they don't have to come out and say it, that make you feel lesser than, that make you feel unattractive or stupid or like you're incapable. They just knock you down emotionally to control you. All abuse is a form of control. Emotional abuse is something that can take a very long time to get over if you ever do. It can also lead to physical abuse. It can be part of physical abuse. A lot of times these things all go hand in hand. Emotional abuse is very bad. It's something that a lot of people do try to rectify through counseling. Maybe with a lot of work. If somebody's simply, I know that shouldn't be taken lightly, if someone has only been emotionally and verbally abusive, counseling may be helpful. If the abuser is willing to actually put in a lot of work to make changes. So that's at a point, if it's not ever gotten physically abusive, that is absolutely a line, any physical abuse, and you should get out of there. If there's verbal and emotional abuse, verbal or emotional abuse, if they realize there's a problem and they're actively working to make changes, it may or may not work. So that's something that you personally, depending on what you have invested in the relationship, may be willing to give a try. But verbal and emotional abuse, very, very bad. Get out of there if you can, or if you feel like trying to make it work, try, but just realize big red flags. Financial abuse is when your significant other controls you financially. They know where all of your money goes. They might be the recipient of your paycheck, even though you're the one earning it. They might be getting all the money that you have coming in, and you have no say in how it's spent. They do this to control you, to make it to where you can't leave if you want to. You feel powerless. They can be doling out a very small amount of grocery money for you to spend every week. And this is, not having power in how money is spent is a scary thing. This is what keeps a lot of women in abusive relationships feeling like they can't get out because they have no way to support themselves and their children. Finances is a really big deal. Being able to make your own money, being able to be financially independent is key. In any relationship, if you are not there yet, I suggest that you work on that. And you can find some other videos on my channel that will help you learn how to become financially independent. All abuse, to summarize, is bad. Be it physical, verbal, emotional, or financial abuse, or a combination of all of them, or some of them. All of these things make us feel bad. They can be harmful. They can be physically devastating. Physical abuse has, in many situations, led to women being killed by their abusers. It is never, ever to be taken lightly, and it will happen again. Abusers do not simply abuse somebody one time and then, fully recover from it and never do it again. It becomes a pattern. And it typically always gets worse. It doesn't get better. If you just expect it to get better, it's not going to happen. It spirals out of control. Get out of there. Your abuser is trying to control you, to keep you from leaving, to make you do everything that they want you to do. You are not in a healthy relationship. You need to get out. Please like my video, subscribe to my channel, and leave a comment if you would like. Thank you.